Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to a brand new monthly wrap up. We're going to be talking today about what I read for the month of June. So without further ado, let's get started. So for this video, I thought it would be fun to do it a little differently. I want to include my statistics, how many books a month I've read, how many pages, what my genres were. So let's get started. I read a total of 4 books, a total of 1,838 pages, and my genres or moods were dark, adventurous, mysterious, emotional, tense, and lighthearted. So let's talk about the books that I've read, shall we? The first book I read on my Kindle. I don't have the physical copy of it, and that is The Watchers by A.M. Shine. That book was so good. So I ended up giving that book a 4-star out of 5. I really enjoyed it. If you didn't know what this book was about, this book is a horror and it follows a girl named Mina. Mina decides to take a job where she is to deliver an exotic bird to the buyer for X amount of money. Because she needs this money, she takes on the job, and all she really has to do is travel through the woods and drop off the bird. However, what happens as she's traveling there, her car breaks down in the middle of the woods and she all of a sudden hears screeching and screaming. She decides to walk towards it. The story was from there. This story is actually really short. It's 295 pages and I thought it was amazing. I thought it was phenomenal. I did not expect it to go the route it did. I enjoyed this book so much. It was, I don't know how to describe it and I don't want to say much, but I really enjoyed my experience reading this story. It kept me on my toes and I just wanted to keep reading because I didn't know what was going to happen. The ending caught me by surprise. I didn't know that it was going to end that way. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about this book. I don't want to give out too much because I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's definitely a book to look into. Definitely a book I would recommend. If you like a creepy atmosphere, creepy woods, this is described as fiction, horror, dark, mysterious. There's nothing else I can say about it, honestly. It was a really good story and I really enjoyed it. The next book I read is Hotel Nantucket by Ellen Hildebrand. I gave this book a 4. I might change it to a 3.75 only because the pacing of the book for me was a little slow, and I get that Ellen Hildebrand's books are meant to be more on the fictional and they're not really romancy. I expected this book to have a lot more romance than it did. I still enjoyed reading it. So this book follows Lisbeth, and she has just broken up with her boyfriend that she's had for many years. She had a bad breakup, and so she's looking to start new and start a new job. She co-owns the restaurant that she's currently working at with her boyfriend. So she decides to find another job. She gets a job as a manager in the Hotel Nantucket. This book is just basically about her and how she's helping the owner of the hotel renovate this place. It has been shut down for years and years. A tragic accident happened and it has really bad rumors about what happened in this hotel. And so you just follow her, you follow a bunch of other characters too within the hotel, the employees and their perspectives and their point of views. What's very interesting too is that you also follow the point of view of Grace, who happened to work as one of the maids in the hotel many years ago and tragically died in it. She kind of haunts the hotel a little bit, and so it's very interesting that you do get her perspective as well as many other characters in there. I don't know, for some reason this book, I had more expectations going into it. I know that Ellen Hildebrand is known to write more on the fiction side, beach reads. There is a little bit of romance in here, but it wasn't the main theme of the book. I was just expecting a little bit more romance, a lot of characters throughout the story that you get their perspectives and their points of views randomly throughout the book, which is okay to me, but I just felt like maybe I wasn't in the right mindset to read this book. Most of the book I felt like I just want to get it done with. I want to get it over with because it was just a little bit mundane for me to go through the everyday life of these characters, even though this is what this author is known to do. I will say the end of the book I did enjoy. I enjoyed how it wrapped up all together. I really enjoyed how it wrapped up at the end with all these characters and with all the things that they were going through individually with their lives. You get a glimpse of every single one of them at the end, which I enjoyed. I did enjoy the story. I just, for some reason, this is the second time and the second feeling. This is the second book I read from Ellen Hildebrand, and I just didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. Still had a great time, but just not enough to give it a 4-star or a 5-star. I'm not sure if Eldon Hildebrand is the kind of author for me. I will be reading her other books, but maybe it's just the time that I read this book that I wasn't really invested in the characters or in the beginning of the book or mostly throughout the book. But again, I'm not going to give up on reading her books. Maybe it's just not a good time for me to read this one. All in all, I still gave it a 3.75. I'm still kind of up there between giving it a 3.5 or 3.75, but definitely not a 4 or 5. It just didn't give me that feeling. And then the next two books that I'm going to talk about, if you watched my last reading vlog, my most recent reading vlog, this should be no surprise to you. If you didn't know, I decided to finally start the series. I was very hesitant because this is not my go-to genre. However, I'm so happy I started this series because I'm absolutely, completely hooked. And I regret nothing at all. The only thing I regret is not starting the series sooner. Let's talk about the last two books that I read, shall we? And that's going to be ACOTAR Book 1 and 2, A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury. Let's talk about A Court of Thorns and Roses. I mean, for a new fantasy beginner, this was so good. This reading experience was so phenomenal to me. I was shocked on how invested I became in just this first book, to be honest with you. Like, I loved it. I enjoyed it so much. 5-star rating for me. 5-star all the way. I loved it. And of course, if you haven't heard about ACOTAR, or at least this first book in the series, this book follows Feyre, and it's basically supposed to be a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I don't know if the rest of the books follow the same idea, but I know that this first book is supposed to be a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It starts off with Feyre. She's 18 years old. She's a huntress. Her family is in poverty. Something happened years ago where they no longer have money. She has to basically hunt in order to feed her family. Her family meaning her 2 sisters and her father. One day she's in the woods. She's hunting like she normally does. She ends up killing a wolf, or so she thinks it's a wolf. Come to find out when she comes home with the skinned wolf and with the deer that she hunted, she then realizes it's not really a wolf that she hunted down. It happens to be a fairy. I'm not going to say much. I'm sure you heard about this series, but this series is amazing. It's got everything in it. It's action-packed. It's heavy on romance. The character development is phenomenal. The world building is incredible. It is so descriptive and so beautifully detailed. I felt like I was in the story with these characters. These characters are amazing. I love them so much. There's nothing that I can say that I don't like about this story and this series so far. I am just enjoying the ride, and I'm gonna be sad honestly when I finish it. I'm actually currently on book 3 right now. I am like 20% into that book, and I'm just already dwelling on the fact that eventually the series will end. As far as I know, I don't know if there's going to be a 6th book, but eventually the series will end and I will be so sad. Now let's talk about A Court of Mist and Fury. This is going to be my favorite book of all time so far in the series. I love this book so much. Parts of this book, you get introduced to a character. I'm not going to say their name. You get introduced to this character, and this whole book is basically about this one character and Feyre and other things that happen. I don't even want to read the back. I don't want to even tell you anything. I don't want to spoil it. But this was so good. I tabbed it so much. There was moments where I was tense. There was moments where I was hurting for the characters. There was moments where I was annoyed. There was moments where I was angry. Miss Sarah J. Maas does such a phenomenal job at manipulating you so much and your feelings, because you might start off hating a character in the beginning of a book. Her writing is so beautiful and so exquisite that she manipulates you, and then the character that you hated for so long, you end up really loving and rooting for them and being on their side and being on their team. So I love this book. I loved it so much. I actually want to reread it. And yeah, I feel like the ACOTAR series, honestly, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but I feel like the ACOTAR series to me has changed my life. I'm sure I'm not the only one that says that, but this series for me has done so much. I just love it so much. I enjoy it. And at first I was skeptical because I'm not a fantasy girly. I'm not a fantasy expert. The books are very thick. They just get thicker as each book goes along. It doesn't even feel like a drag. It doesn't even feel like I'm pushing through these huge books because I'm just enjoying this story so much. I'm loving the characters, I'm loving the world, I'm loving the magic system. I am so in love with this series. Again, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself when it ends. Honestly, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself when it ends. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!